All right, guys, I'm going to try to do a quick video on the market, what I think about tomorrow with the CPI. I'll cover crypto really quick, miners, um, Tesla, and maybe AMC and GME. All right, so, I called this bottom a couple weeks ago and said that I thought we would round it out. And instead of us rounding it out, we've kind of just continuously rallied. So I'm a little concerned here because it's hard to read this count. But if I had to guess, I would think this is a 1-2, and then maybe this is a 1-2-3, and then we get a sell candle, and then 4-5, right? And maybe that's one. But the thing I'm worried about is I don't like this overextension rally all the way to CPI, even with bad data, right? I wanted us to be down here around this time frame so that we would have room to rally. Because what happened here is we've literally closed in supply. And typically when this happens, it's a big rejection. So it's something to keep in consideration. So on a technical basis, I want to say we sell off tomorrow, right? Just because of this. Now, if the CPI is good and maybe we break above this, then that would be bullish for me. That would give me a little bit of comfort. But at this very close, that's a little concerning. Now, even though we close like this, I will say that the PPI came in, or the PCI came in this morning, and it was kind of mixed. On paper, it looked bad, but it's because they revised it. And then Powell spoke at 10 o'clock today, about an hour and a half after the data came out, and he thought that it's fine. And he just kind of re-encouraged that we're at a sufficient rate. The first half of the year, the first quarter isn't that big of a deal if we see some inflation. It's more so in the back end of the year, and he thinks in the second half of the year we'll continue to see inflation come down. So realistically, Powell spoke very dovishly or bullishly today, which that's one good thing, right? So I was talking about May 10th being the bottom, and so far it's been the bottom in the broad sector market. But there is a thesis where we rally for a couple of days from the 10th, and then we sell off really hard, and then we start rallying in June. And I think that might be what happens just based on like the structure of everything. So there's three theses here. One is, and this is very concerning because like maybe this is a five-wave structure. I don't think it is, but if this was a five-wave structure, then maybe this is the completed white path of a five-wave structure, right? And instead of us being up here, we're down here. And then it starts a massive wave 4 correction, which is where the real rally comes in. That's the one I don't think is going to happen. So there's three scenarios. That's the worst case scenario. And if that were to happen, then we would sell off pretty drastically from here. And I think it would break a lot of charts. Now, things that do have me a little concerned about that is stuff like Mara miners. Like this might be gibberish to you, but like when I'm zoomed out this far, I see bearishness. Now, if I zoom in about right here, I see bullishness. But overall, the main structure of the chart is kind of bearishness, which is what's been keeping me on my heels on keeping that as a thesis. Now, I don't think that's the one that's going to play out. I think one of these two is going to play out. All right, so if CPI comes in good, I think we just have a melt up. I think it just keeps chopping like this, just keeps chopping upward. Realistically, I think it's like this. Because if you look at this area and this area, they look about the same. And I'm not joking when it could be the same algorithm. So from like here forward, you see three red candles, and then three green candles, a red candle consolidation, another consolidation, and then up. So if we look, this is on Wednesday, I wouldn't be surprised if like this is what happens, right? And if this is what happens, and we have a big sell candle tomorrow, I wouldn't be surprised if on Thursday we even rally, because that would actually fit the narrative of this being a three-wave structure right here, right? And then us getting a sell candle to wave 4 and us rallying. That could be what happens, all right? So three scenarios. One is the really bad scenario, which I think it would have to be with CPI coming in really bad, which is a major sell-off. Another one is CPI is good, and we just have a melt up, kind of like this, something in this area, and it just keeps going up for the next 2 months. Or we have a fake sell-off, and maybe we even sell off and we come down here, and then it kind of resets it, right? Maybe something like that. It's like up to this point, my May 10th thesis has been playing flawlessly, but it's almost too flawless to where I'm nervous. Because if we look at like the broader market, it's like, so I've been calling these levels with Bitcoin, SPY, and all this for months, right? But now when you have an obvious inverse head and shoulders, and it's been there for multiple days, everyone's starting to see this, and everyone's starting to talk about it on Twitter. And when everyone starts talking about it on Twitter, it starts making me skeptical that Wall Street's baiting people. So it's like, I don't, like, I would not be surprised if, the CPI comes in hot and then this sells off and maybe we go down here and we carve out this bottom that I was talking about. And it literally fakes out all these people expecting an inverse head and shoulders. Now that's the bullish case scenario. That's the best case scenario. And we can hope for it, but we kind of need to be realistic. So I'm a little cautious going in tomorrow. I think if we rally, I may look to trim something until we get through this week. Because even if we rally, I think it's possible that we sell off. Kind of like what happened, I think it was last week. Yeah, it was right here. Like we were over here and like the market was extremely bullish with Powell speaking, and then they just pressed the sell button. Oh, this one right here. Press the sell button, and then the next day it rallied. So I wouldn't be surprised if something like that happens. Overall, the charts and everything look amazing, but they look so amazing that I'm actually getting nervous. I know that's kind of weird to say, but it is what it is. So 3 scenarios. One is we just have a melt up tomorrow and everything rallies. Even if it rallies, I'm going to trim, right? Another scenario is a massive sell candle, kind of like this. And I'd be interested to see if it continues selling off or if we literally have a sell candle and then the next day it gaps up like this. Because so far, these are almost identical. Like this candlestick structure is almost identical to this one, right? So something to compare to. And then the third case is this is literally a finished 5-wave structure for the white one, and then we get a larger degree, wave 4, and that would be the worst case scenario. I'm hoping that's not it. So my basis is we either rally from here or we sell off until like maybe we rally a little bit this week and then we sell off. Regardless, I think if we don't rally from here, I think maybe we sell off until like the last week of May, and then it carves out a bottom, which would give enough time to kind of like close this off and then come lower, which would actually fit this narrative. Like let's say we have a sell candle and then we rally higher going into this week, and then we spend the next 8 days correcting, right? And then make a higher low, and then we start the rest of the 5-wave structure. That would be one of the best case scenarios. So it's either we fucking just straight rally from here, or we get some type of pullback, rally, and then a correction for going into next week. I hope we have good market breadth, so everything rallies and we can just get out of some stocks, trim some a little bit. If Tesla gets over 180, I may look to trim one of the contracts since we bought it at 170, just to get cash on the side until it really proves itself. Bitcoin, we're sitting here on this descending resistance, as you can see, and it's been being respected. You can see this, right? Actually, I believe I didn't draw it. There's something there that's acting as resistance. That's why I have that highlighted. And so far, we're selling off, right? And there is an inverse head and shoulders, but I'm not so convinced that's going to play out. But we'll see. I wouldn't be surprised if this is like an A, B, C, right? And then we go and fill out this, and we double bottom on the 50-degree or 50% fibs. But I mean, I'm all game. If we rally from here, I'll be happy. But that's not my base case, to be honest. If we look at MAR and them, I had this drawn Sunday going into the week. This is where we needed it to curl from. The ADL line's curling up. That was a gap down, buy up. That's bullish. Out of a 2-day demand. I mean, I would be happy. I would be happy for, SPY to do that wave 5 thing that I said. Maybe we rally up here. We hit this weekly supply and then we pull back. That would make me feel more comfortable. But, we only have these 2 pivot lows. Because if we trip this pivot low, the 14, I think it's possible we go to 10. And I don't want that. Right? So we have to be cognizant of this. I'm hoping this is a leading diagonal, which is what I have planned right here. But this is also why I haven't been adding to miners. I want to, bad, but just the chart does not look that great to me. Riot did something similar, filled the gap. We got a curling ADL, but filled the gap. Um, that could be an ABC. It really could. I was waiting to get down here to nibble. I would have nibbled right here just because the risk to reward would have been really great since this is the cutoff. But we'll see what happens tomorrow. Something to note was, Wolf had a bad earnings and it gapped down and it bought up. That's a curl in the ADL line. That's bullish, right? It also even reset the RSI more, and it's in a massive wedge. Look at this. So I wouldn't be surprised if like we have some type of sell-off, but then like some type of sideways chop till the end of the month. Just a little bit more of a wasting our time. But as long as none of the charts break over the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be so bullish it's not funny. And the best case scenario would either be we have a melt up now, or we correct for a week or two and then go into June, which is actually what happened last year, which is the algorithm I found. Just so you guys know, the reason I was able to call May 10th is because they're using the same algorithm as 2023. And if you look at the charts, they all bottomed around May 10th, and then some of them just kept rallying, and then some of them kind of rallied, made a higher or a lower high going into June, and then rallied from June. The ones that rallied in June was actually crypto. If you look right here. So this was the choppiness on June 15th, right? But then if you look around May, it was like May 12th, right here. May 12th going to 15th, just because that was a Friday, because it skipped days. And then there was some type of rally, but then it made a lower high and then a lower low. So like I wouldn't be surprised if this is what happens. But all we got to do is just be cognizant and be mindful. Tesla so far, it's it looks like it's making this inverse head and shoulders. I'm not a huge fan of this sell-off candle, but we do have a curl right here, so that's bullish. I think we can very easily get to 180 to 187, and if we get in that area, I'm probably going to trim a contract just to unload some and get back to like at least 15% cash. When all these charts start breaking out, like if Tesla starts getting over 200, if MAR gets over this $21 or this 25, if we get over this 25, like we can just get dated calls. I know for a fact we're going to 40. Like literally that's what that says, right? Break over 25 confirms the road to 35. So, I'd rather always keep a little bit of cash just until we get these confirmations, because I promise you, we're looking at 100 to 300% moves. So fuck this little 20%, 30%. I know you guys are looking to take profit, but we're in a little bit of a stagnation where there's consolidation sideways before a major move. And sometimes it's lower lows until then. Tilray gapped up. It's one of the ones on the short list. Gapped up, sold off. I think this is just being compressed, but I think it's coming soon. I really do. Showed Riot, showed Wolf, Tesla, Baba. Baba did its earnings. It was taken bad, dropped 7%, but this is a bullish fucking candle. Not only is that a Dragon Star Doji, right? It's on high volume, but this is what I love right there. That's what I love to see. And this didn't actually pop up until like the last 5 minutes, and I wasn't looking. And I looked at the last minute of the market, and I saw this, and I was about to just go press buy on the Patreon, but then you guys wouldn't have had enough time, so I was like, you know what? Let me just not. If there's opportunity, there's opportunity. Like realistically, right? So let's say CPI comes in bad tomorrow, and we get this sell candle, right? If we get a sell candle and stocks gap down but then close higher than they open, that will be bullish. That will extend the ADL line higher. So that's something to keep in mind. But I really love that. I was a little worried about this being like an ABC. Like maybe this is one, like this could be a leading diagonal too. So maybe this is A, B, C, or that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, one of the two. And maybe so I was waiting for this, the 74 to 76. If we can get the 74 to 76, I would buy. And then I think we make it to $90. Or we just literally rally from here and go to 90. But, I'm trying to keep a little bit of cash and being patient. If we get the 74, 76 area, I'll probably buy another August contract in the Patreon. And then we can look at AMC is fun ass. All right, so stock was up like 160%, fucking squeezing like a motherfucker. I was up a tremendous amount. And then I have all of these pre-made levels. So we hit this pre-made level. We actually hit this one too if we look. If you see that, literally rejected flawlessly. I trimmed some of that in pre-market, but most of my money is in options. So we hit this one. Usually we break through one, and I thought we'd hold here, and that's originally what actually happened. We broke down with this, hit 880, and then broke down again, right? So that was the breakdown. And then we have this SR flip, this support resistance flip, the weekly supply zone, right? So then I was like, if this is supported, then that's bullish. And what I think happened today is a look below and fell, right? So it broke below it. If I go on the hourly, it did break below it, and I almost stop lost out, but I saw something else on an even smaller time frame, and I'll show you that. But what I wanted to see was I wanted to see this weekly supply act as a support resistance flip, because that's a major amount of consolidation. If we get below that, then it's like it's dying, right? So we broke below, and then it rejected, and now we're rallying in after hours, and we're almost above this weekly supply. This is bullish right now. I'm going to tell you this is very bullish. What was also bullish is this, the 325 moving average, the purple line. I called the bottom here. Because I called the bottom here because it was also in tandem with GameStop's SR flip. If you look right here, so another weekly supply, and at the same time, we could do this. This is 5. Around the same time, it bottomed here as, even though we broke below, GME was finding support at the weekly supply SR flip. So I called the bottom on Twitter, and so far we bottomed. And then I went to proceed that when we hit this, I said, buy algo engaged, right? Like we can literally look at this really quick. So this was, 325. And I tweeted this, buy algo engaged, as soon as we hit it, which was at 324. And then since then, we've literally rallied, just as a start, 26%. And right now, I think we probably get over $8 before the close, and then we probably gap up. What I would really like to see is I would like to see us get over $10 and reclaim that $10. I think if we reclaim $10, especially 12, we're going to 19. That's the next level right here. But right now, I think this is bullish. Now, there can be, this is going to be a place where they're going to try to stop us from getting through. Right here. This 880 to 1060. And if CPI comes bad, then they can literally sell that off again. But if it comes in bullish, I think that will give momentum to AMC and GME, and it'll literally bust through it. I don't think this is done. This was right here. This was a beautiful identifier for me. And this is now the trend, right? Now we have a technical indicator that has given us 2 taps of confluence for a trend. So now this is our trend. So until we break under this, I'm going to remain bullish. But I added during all of this. So I have a shit ton now. But so with me having a shit ton, I'm going to trim up in this area. Just until because if you think about it in the sense of a risk, in a risk to reward, right? So let's say that this is it. So this is a 30% gain for a 16% risk. So 2 to 1, right? But then when we get up here, right? Let's say we're up here at 10.05, this is resistance. So I can only make 6% for a rejection. So now my risk to reward is a 6% gain for a 22% loss. I'd rather not do that, right? So once we get up here, it's fuck that 6% until it proves itself. And then when it proves itself, I want to see something like this. I want to see it get above it, come up, maybe tap 13 again, come back to around the 10, 11 range, and then buy right here for the bigger move, right? Now, this is momentum trading, guys. I'm not going to be able to manage and update you guys. First and foremost, do not go heavy. Unless you have a really low cost basis, my cost basis is in $3. So I'm not going to lose money. I'm just going to lose profit. So if you didn't listen to me yesterday and buy, don't go putting a lot of money in up here because you don't have profit to risk, right? So the idea is you nibble down here, and then if price action starts playing in the $12 plus range, then you have a profit to risk. then you can add a little bit while never letting it go red. So that's the concept. But this is momentum trade. So this is stuff is like, like this drop was 30% in 15 minutes. Like I can't manage my own position and tell you guys what to do. Now, maybe I'll get in voice comms, but then most of you guys aren't working behind a computer, right? Like I don't know if you guys want that to happen, speak up, let me know. I can get in voice comms and maybe give voice updates. Other than that, I can't really update this that much. So that's my thoughts. I think it's very probable that we have some type of pullback. I just hope we rally first. But my two main theses is we either just fucking lift off from now till maybe July, end of July, or we correct, we rally for a couple days, or we correct and then rally for a couple days, and then pull back, and then we rally at the start of June. That's my two main theses. The third thesis is every chart breaks, everything goes bad. I don't think that's going to happen, but SPY is low-key kind of set up for that a little bit, but I'm not entirely convinced that that's going to happen. Okay? All right. Anyways, hopefully this video wasn't long. Thanks.